Year after year, the Grammys somehow get stranger, but in 2026, things officially went off the rails. From CeeLo Green stepping onto the red carpet looking straight out of a nightmare, to Justin Bieber's underwear performance that felt less like music and more like a silent cry for help, this year crossed a line. And of course, Lady Gaga delivered her annual onstage spectacle in front of millions, like clockwork. Once again, the Grammys proved that the Hollywood elite live in a completely different reality. And whether you love her or hate her, Nicki Minaj was speaking facts. Today we're breaking down the moments that show Nicki wasn't exaggerating about what the Grammys really are. Just days ago, we talked about Nicki going head-to-head with the industry on X. She didn't just aim at Jay-Z, she called out the Grammys directly. Nicki tweeted, "As they do their ritual tonight, God Almighty will reveal himself to them. The ritual will backfire, God will not be mocked." And she said this after being publicly mocked during the opening monologue over her political views. That was the final straw. Nicki used that moment to say what a lot of people are afraid to admit. The Grammys aren't just an award show. They're a yearly ritual for the Hollywood elite. And while I've said before that Nicki might not be the perfect messenger, I can't deny she's right about this. If you still don't believe it, the 2026 Grammys are all the proof you need. This wasn't an award show. It was a scripted ceremony where industry puppets performed to entertain people way above them. Strange symbolism, bizarre performances, forced admiration for celebrities doing humiliating things on stage. They prop these stars up, tell you who to praise, and then parade them out wearing barely anything, all to amuse their unseen overseers. And if you think what you see at the Grammys is random or accidental, you couldn't be more wrong. Every performance is carefully designed to send a deeper message, whether you notice it or not. That's exactly what we saw with Justin Bieber. Justin didn't go viral because of his song. He went viral because of how he showed up. He walked onto one of the biggest stages in the world wearing a purple outfit, boxers, socks, and a guitar, looking completely drained. He began singing Yukon, and the internet immediately reacted. Why was Justin Bieber performing at the Grammys in his underwear? Was it shock value? Or was he trying to say something without saying it? Ever since rumors surfaced about troubling experiences he may have faced earlier in his career, fans noticed a shift in him. He hasn't been the same. There was that period where he looked overwhelmed in public, and many people assumed it was pressure from unresolved industry trauma coming back into the spotlight. Recently, Justin has appeared defeated, and this performance only added to that narrative. Some people see vulnerability, others see symbolism. Performing in boxers feels like a metaphor for being stripped down by the industry and left exposed in front of the world. But to me, it goes deeper than that. It feels like a nod to how the system took advantage of his youth, slowly breaking him down piece by piece. The loss of innocence, the pressure, the control. This is what they demanded behind the scenes to make it in Hollywood's twisted system. It's also humiliation. A reminder that no matter how famous you are, you'll still dance for approval. These stars are treated like circus attractions, put on display for entertainment. Hollywood loves hiding the truth in plain sight. For years, people said the Yummy video hinted at secret industry culture. Now that message feels louder than ever. Justin wasn't just performing, he was communicating. He wasn't singing for fun, he was showing scars. And that's exactly what Nicki Minaj was talking about. This is what the Grammys exist for. They turn the dark flaws of the industry into art and let fans clap without realizing what they're watching. And it's no coincidence that so many powerful music figures keep popping up in recent Epstein discussions. Now look at CeeLo Green's red carpet appearance. People call celebrities demons, figuratively, all the time. But CeeLo made it visual. He arrived wearing blood red contacts, heavy black eye makeup, and a matching red outfit. It was shocking. But what stood out even more was the presentation alongside his son, Lake. Lake's face was painted pale white with darkened eyes and matching red clothing. The imagery felt unsettling to many viewers. This wasn't just fashion. It symbolized how the industry passes its culture down to the next generation. CeeLo has long been linked to the darker corners of the business, and this appearance felt like an introduction into that world. We've seen similar patterns before with other celebrity families, and that's why Nicki's warning hit so hard. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Will and Jada practically raised their kids inside the industry, and we all watched how that played out. Jaden and Willow didn't just grow up around Hollywood, they fully absorbed it. They didn't reject the system, they stepped right into it and made it their identity. Jaden and Willow aren't just different, they're deeply embedded in the same culture that shaped their parents. I literally just dropped a video breaking down Jaden Smith initiating Kai Cenat into the strange, coded world of high fashion. That wasn't accidental, and it wasn't harmless. That's exactly what CeeLo Green and his son were showing us at the Grammys. When CeeLo was questioned about his unsettling look, his response said everything. "I was born this way," he said. "What's going on with the eyes?" These aren't my real eyes," he joked, then added, "I was born this way." That line matters. He wasn't calling it a costume. He wasn't calling it fashion. He was telling you this is who he really is. This wasn't dress up, it was a reveal. And that makes the whole moment way more disturbing. And honestly, CeeLo's look wasn't even the most shocking of the night. Chappelle Roan showed up in a sheer nipple-bearing dress that many believe was a deliberate reference to Salome. Yes, that Salome. The same biblical figure tied to obsession, seduction, and ritualized power. People aren't reaching here. Miguel Castro Freitas, the creative director behind Mugler, openly stated that his recent collections were inspired by historic showgirls, including the biblical Salome. He described the character as representing human contradiction and the fetishized archetype of the temptress. So no, this wasn't coincidence. The symbolism was intentional, and once you start seeing it, it's everywhere at the Grammys. These outfits aren't random. They're chosen carefully to communicate deeper ideas to those who know how to read them. All of this connects back to the industry's increasingly exposed obsession with excess, desire, and control. Over the last few years, that environment has become harder to hide. The curtain is slipping. We saw that same darkness in Tyler, the creator's performance. Tyler continued the ritualistic theme with a heavily stylized set that felt more like a ceremony than a concert. He appeared wearing a glossy mask and exaggerated hair clearly shaped to resemble horns. During the performance, Tyler crashes a Ferrari and then rises from the flames. On the surface, it looks like a flashy career metaphor, but symbolically, it represents a death and rebirth ritual, the destruction of an old identity and the unveiling of a new one. In this industry, reinvention always comes with symbolism. You have to follow the story they're telling, not just the visuals meant to distract you. And this brings us right back to Nicki Minaj's warning. This wasn't just an award show, it was a ritual, and Lady Gaga proved that yet again. Year after year, Gaga uses the Grammys as her personal stage for heavy symbolism. But this time, she went all in. She performed Abracadabra, but it wasn't a performance. It was a ceremony. Gaga appeared trapped inside a massive black wicker cage. Fans saw it as bold stage design, but anyone familiar with ancient symbolism knows exactly what that represents. The wicker structure is a direct callback to the Wicker Man, tied to ancient Celtic rituals involving sacrifice. That imagery is not subtle if you know history. Even the song title matters. Abracadabra traces back to a cult language popularized by Aleister Crowley as a magical phrase. This isn't random creativity. It's directly inspired by ritual symbolism and esoteric ideology. This wasn't just art for art's sake. It was intentional. And once again, Nicki Minaj was right to call it out. Millions of fans were watching, completely unaware they were pouring their energy into something dark. Nobody in that crowd stopped to ask why one of the biggest pop stars on earth chose to perform inside a symbol historically tied to sacrifice. As the performance went on, she wasn't just singing. She was presiding over the stage like a high priestess. She was draped in red and black feathers, colors long associated with transformation and power in ancient symbolism. When artists reach a certain level of fame, they don't just perform anymore, they pay homage to the system that elevated them. And for Gaga, the 2026 Grammys were clearly about signaling a new phase. She emerged staring straight into the camera with a cold, almost hypnotic gaze. It felt intentional, like she was telling the audience the transformation was complete. This wasn't art for art's sake. It was a public display of the industry's hidden side, revealed in front of millions too distracted by spectacle to notice the ritual unfolding right in front of them. And then we get to the biggest success story of the night, Kendrick Lamar. Whether you like him or not isn't the point. What matters is the timing. On a night filled with humiliation, cages, and unsettling symbolism, Kendrick was the only artist allowed to maintain prestige and control. He walked away with 5 Grammys, officially surpassing Jay-Z's record. That alone should make you pause, because the industry does not hand out that kind of power for no reason. For decades, Jay-Z was the gatekeeper of hip-hop. He was the figure the Grammys leaned on to legitimize the genre. But now, with massive legal clouds hanging over industry elites, from the Diddy fallout to federal investigations, the system needs a new clean face. They need a new golden child. Someone polished, respected, and untouchable to keep the machine moving forward. Kendrick's dominance in 2026 feels less like celebration and more like a strategic handoff. He's being positioned as the successor to the throne. By awarding him everything in one night, the Grammys are telling you who the new authority is. When the Academy gives one man that much recognition, they aren't just rewarding talent, they're installing protection. He becomes the new gatekeeper, the shield they point to when critics call out the rituals, the symbolism, and the chaos. See, they say, we still honor lyricism and substance. That's the trap. Kendrick's presence gives the entire show a free pass. It makes people overlook the cages, the demonic visuals, and the humiliation. Because history is being made. He isn't being rewarded for rebellion. He's being rewarded for being the most effective stabilizer in a genre that's spiraling behind the scenes. The Grammys are as industry as it gets. They're part of the same system that once validated figures now under scrutiny. So ask yourself this: if Kendrick were truly outside the system, why is the industry's most prestigious night elevating him like this? Even if Nicki Minaj isn't the perfect messenger, and I've explained that before, she told us exactly what to watch for. She said the ritual would reveal itself, and that's exactly what happened. While most people saw a rapper winning awards, I saw the installation of a new gatekeeper. The old leadership being phased out, and the industry's chosen one officially stepping into place. When you step back and look at the 2026 Grammys as a whole, the picture becomes impossible to ignore. This wasn't a series of random or weird performances, it was coordinated. We saw the humiliation of a veteran artist stripped down on stage to remind everyone who really controls the system. We saw a disturbing imagery signaling the next generation being introduced to the same culture. We saw Lady Gaga presiding over an ancient-style ritual while Chappelle Roan embodied a symbolic temptress role straight out of history. And finally, we saw the crowning of a new gatekeeper designed to keep the culture manageable. Nicki Minaj warned everyone to watch. She said the truth would be revealed. And on February 1st, it was. The industry is no longer hiding its symbols or power moves. They're putting everything in plain sight because they believe people are too distracted to care. The Grammys aren't getting worse because they're losing talent. They're getting worse because the mask is gone. They're not pretending this is just about music anymore. It's about messaging. It's about control. And it's about keeping the audience asleep while idols are propped up and moved into position. Now I want to know what you think. Was there a moment during this year's show that made you stop and question what you were seeing? Did I miss something important? If you want a part 2, comment part 2 below. Drop your thoughts, I'll be down there reading as many as I can. If you're here for unfiltered breakdowns like this, hit the like button and subscribe for more. That's it for this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.